Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Dr. Hope. Hope is an author, speaker, professor, and strategic consultant. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Dr. Hope.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Likewise, thank you so much. Let me start with this. Where
Well,
were you? Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
the simple answer is my mother. My mother was a career educator, and I grew up in the halls of schools. And I fell in love with the transformative power of education and what that could do, especially to underrepresented, underprivileged, undereducated groups. And that's what I dedicate my life to is helping increase accessibility to education for everyone.
What are the top three mistakes to avoid?
I love this question. To speak, okay, it's people think it's counterintuitive to speak up when you need to speak up, not to hold it in. If something's going wrong, to kindly but communicate and say, I'm not understanding what's happening. I think that when you feel your gut instinct in a situation, in a business situation, and you get that feeling like, something's not right, listen. I have learned the hard way that those bells are there for a reason to listen. And the third one is to over rely on technology when there is conflict in leadership. I think that we need to get back to doing, whether even in a face to face, a phone call, because a lot of communication problems in leadership can be avoided by simply connecting. We have to assume the connection with people, and technology kind of takes that away.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
That's a very good question. I don't really consider, I like to say there are no mistakes. You cannot make a mistake. Of course, we make mistakes all the time. Probably, I would say not leaving a position that I knew was not right for me for a couple of years and sitting in it, and then things kind of unfolding in a very ungraceful way. That is my biggest mistake. I think that had I listened to those warning signs, had I was true to my like true north and left when it was time to leave, it would have been easier on my psyche, probably it's everybody's psyche. But that's something you live and learn, right? But I don't believe you can make a mistake. I believe that it's all within the scheme of learning and doing better and evolving, especially as a leader.
How did you recover from it?
Well, there's the pretty part and there's the not pretty part. The pretty part is I wrote, I healed, I dove into leadership literature. I looked at my shadow self. I dove into the Jungian psychology. The not pretty part is it's kind of like grief. I mean, it's kind of a grief process of mourning. And I believe I'm really a Jungian leader. You have to go into that shadow to transcend the shadow. So to really go deep inside and feel it, feel the ugly, feel the shame, feel it so you can move through it and not make those mistakes again.
What are your top three success secrets that others can model from?
Such good questions. I am very big on old fashioned manners, a hello, a thank you, a please in an email. That would be number one, to always treat people with kindness and be polite and not just demand, as a leader, do this, do that, just address people by name. People are human. The second would be to be on time all the time, even if the day has gone crazy and the kids have gone crazy, and to just show up. You know what I mean? People appreciate you showing up. It's leadership to just show up despite what the outside looks like. It doesn't matter. You're there for your brain and your heart. And I would say the third is old school business trick, just simple follow up, closing the loop every day, making sure you have closed the loops of every day that's going on, that you don't leave anybody hanging. And even if you can't get to someone's question immediately, to say, hey, Siddique, I hear you. I will get to this. This is important to me. I can't get to it till later this week, but I promise I'll get back to you. I think instead of leaving people hanging, I think just those simple niceties are go far in this world.
We are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
Okay, let me have a sip of water and I'm ready. I'm grateful today for living in a beautiful place and having created a career where I get to share and connect with people from all over the world. I can't even tell you how fun. Like I wouldn't have envisioned how fun my career could be. And I have such a good time. So I'm so grateful for the ability to speak well and connect well and to just be open-hearted to other people, because it gives me these opportunities to meet people like you and your audience and learn from people. That's what I want to just learn from people in the world, because I think that will make a better world. And I want to leave the world a little bit better of a place than I came into it. So that's important to me.
It's a lightning round. I just want to remind you on this one. How young are you?
49.
So hope you are not 49. You are 18 years old with 31 years experience.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's good. But I have an 18-year-old child, so I'm not really sure how that would work, but okay, we'll go with it.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I have no idea. No, the real answer is write. And ultimately I'd love to have a talk show on TV. That's my goal. But I want to write, spend my whole career writing. Oh, so many challenges. Yeah, so many challenges. I face it. I face the fear. I live the fear. I'm in it. I'm in the anxiety, and I just go for it. I just find the solution and I just face it head on. There's no way around it. You just got to go. Coffee, lots and lots of coffee. And meditation. I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of connecting, a lot of centering, and that's how I start my day. Probably the meditation before the coffee, because once you do the coffee, the meditation doesn't come so easy. Oh, to speak up, to not be afraid, to be bold, to not worry about having the boldest idea in the room, to just say what's on your mind, speak up. Well, this part I'm not so good at, because if I have a great idea, I'm just going to go with it. So I don't know if this is the best question for me, but my ideas are creative and inclusive and equity based. So I don't really have a problem convincing. I'm not a financial risk taker. I'm more of a social risk taker or an intellectual risk taker. So typically, someone is not my significant other unless they say, "You go for that. That's awesome. You do it." Because I have big visions for what I want to do. So I want someone who can appreciate those visions. Oh, of course, Covey's the influential, I'm blanking on the ways to influence people. And also, actually, a book called Frogs and Princes, which is out of print, but you can still find it on Amazon. And it's about neuro-linguistic programming, which is speaking in a way that helps people align with you, almost like a mirror speak. And it's called Frogs and Princes. And it's probably one of the, it's hard to find. It's out of print, but you can get used ones. And it's very powerful. And it kind of started the whole Napoleon Hill sales techniques about how to speak to people to get them on your page, on your side.
Can I see the book cover, please?
I don't have that book cover with me. I have, you asked me what my favorite book was, which is this. It's The Razor's Edge. And the question was, what is your favorite quote from the book? And it's from the Upanishads, from the Vedic text, the Hindu Vedic text. And it made a mark on me. I read it when I was 17 and I've never forgotten it. And it stays on my bedside. The sharp edge of a razor is difficult to pass over. Thus, the wise say the path to salvation is hard, meaning nothing in life is going to come easy. Life takes effort. The path to salvation takes effort. It is as sharp as a razor's edge, but you got to, that's the path. That is the path. You can't avoid that path. Like, because I want to I believe kindness matters, and we're in a crisis of inequity, racism, all sorts of viruses and discrimination in this country. And I want to leave the world a little bit kinder of a place than I came into it. And I'm hoping some of my students will carry some of my kindness into the world with them. That's really what's important to me. Most of my mentors have passed on, quite honestly, but I would say I have one mentor. Can I mention his name? His name is Dr. Walt Rutherford. He is the first psychologist in this country. He's a Vietnam vet, and he is the first psychologist to bring Tibetan psychology into this country to help heal post-traumatic stress. And he has been a loving, kind, sometimes forceful mentor to me, but with that unconditional regard and that always like, yeah, you can do this, you can do this. And to find somebody that will do that for you and hold that space for you, even when you fall, and say, well, let's figure out how to get out of this mess. You know, that's so important to have that safety net and not be afraid of your mentor. I want to be remembered for trying to help people have better accessibility within institutions. That's to have a more equitable, fair, kind world. I mean, it sounds simple, it sounds simplistic, it's not profound, but that is what I want to be remembered for, is that I was kind and that I tried to spread some kindness through understanding of historical context and literature and popular culture. And that's very important to me. My ideal client is a client that's open-minded and open-hearted. That's my ideal client. And a client who will simply say to me, I know you know what you're doing and I need help. What can I do? And doesn't micromanage, where I can say, okay, let me do what I need to do. You know, like, do you trust me? If you trust me, let's go. That's my ideal client. I'd love anyone to reach out to me, innovationsadvocacy.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, and anyone to reach out with a question. I'm not only in the higher education space anymore, I'm in the compassionate leadership space doing public speaking. I'm always happy to share my ideas and my thoughts, and also do columns and chapters and writing, because I love sharing my ideas with the world and I love helping people express themselves better. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and it's been a pleasure getting to speak to your readers. It's a different format than I'm used to, but it's really fun. I love the rapid fire questions. You know, you really have to be on your game for that. So I want to say thank you, Siddique, and I appreciate so much what you do in the world, and you're bringing leadership ideas and techniques into the world. I guess I would say thank you. Like, thank you. And at this time, I'm going to make this short because I know this is not I'm not teaching, but at this time in the world, we're really at a critical juncture. And to go out into the world and know that what you say and what you do and what you observe in the world, if you see, you know, somebody being unfair to somebody, speak up. Right now, we have a time when we can shift humanity into a more kind and loving humanity. And I'd like to see that happen. So my final word is kindness matters. Kindness matters.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hope, for sharing
your wisdom. Thank you.
For sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.